Hey, what's up guys? So we're here to go over all of the legendaries as of right now in Diablo 4. All the content that you guys are seeing is from the 2019 Blizzcon, from all of the other streamers' VODs, and I'll go ahead and link them down below to go ahead and give them credit as far as where I'm getting my data from. But let's go ahead and hop right into it. So first off, this is the Hellhammer, which is a legendary two-handed mace, and it's a bludgeoning weapon. So there might be some interaction with some of the different weapon types that are only available when you have like that type of a weapon. But anyways, this makes it so Upheaval ignites the ground, burning enemies for an additional 104 damage over 3 seconds. Now, that number in yellow, that 104, that can be up or down. Like, that's basically the RNG mechanic with picking up that weapon. And over in the bottom right next to where it says sell value, you'll see it says Barbarian. That specifies that it is for that class. They didn't specifically say that means you can't equip it on anything, but I'm pretty sure that means that it's only going to be for that class. Because some of the skills that you can technically use can be used for another class, even though your class doesn't have that. And I'll explain that in a second once we get into the next legendary, which is actually going to be the Staff of Fractured Flames, which is a legendary staff for the sorcerer. And it makes it so Fireball launches 3 projectiles that deal 54% of normal damage. Now, looking at the next item, which is the Writhing Band. This is a generic legendary ring that has a hit effect where your attacks have up to a 5% chance to spawn a Hydra that will aid you in combat. Now, Hydra is not on the Druid, but you can still apply that legendary effect. Even though it also says plus 9 to maximum mana, even though that won't be applied to, you can still have that legendary ability, and that is something that I think is quite cool. Next up over here, we have Esidora's Overflowing Cameo. This is a legendary amulet that grants the legendary ability. Lightning traps periodically appear around you, dealing 328 damage after 2 seconds to nearby enemies. And this is another one of those generic ones. Now over here we have the Ring of Frozen Thought. This is going to make it so your physical attacks chill enemies, and enemies who are chilled enough times become frozen. And next up over here we have the Stone of Jordan, one of the most famous rings of all time. It was even in Marvel Heroes. But anyways, this is going to give you the legendary ability for +1 rank to your equipped skills. Now, what that really means, because that might be kind of confusing, is this is basically +1 to all skills, not talents. That's a separate category. There are items that will grant you plus X amount to your talents. However, this is going to be for your equipped skills. It's basically +1 to all skills from Diablo 2 if you guys have played that. Another thing I did want to mention that I did learn from one of like the things that they were talking about in Diablo 4 with one of the panels is that your attack on your basically all of your items in this game will give you some type of +2 attack. That does scale with your spell damage or your skills essentially, because in Diablo 2, if you had a different weapon, let's say on a sorceress, it would not increase your fireball damage in Diablo 2, but you would need to have plus to your skills. But in Diablo 4, it does technically add damage if your weapon has a base damage that would be increased, or any like other item in the game would essentially increase your skill damage. In addition to that, you do have the ability to put in skill points, which will also increase the skills damage. Next up though, we have Thunder Spire. This is for the Druid. This is a legendary staff that makes it so lightning strikes a nearby enemy, dealing 122 damage whenever you shapeshift. So in Diablo 4, unlike Diablo 2, you basically swap in between different forms with the Druid. It's not like you basically build like bear build. You kind of have like hybrid. In fact, the way that the system works in Diablo 4, and I plan to make a video specifically on this explaining how the skill system works, you can basically have as many skill points to max out everything in the game as far as in its current state, and I'll explain that in a later video. So if you guys are new to the channel and want to see more in-depth explanation of how things currently work in Diablo 4, I do plan to make that. So if you're new here, hit subscribe, turn on that bell, and you'll see it when I actually make that video. Yeah, it's going to be for shapeshifting druids, and pretty much you will be utilizing most of your skills in Diablo 4. Next up over here, this is actually going to be an interesting mechanic. So they basically showed off what would be something like an endgame build, and we have this as a teleport build. So the Rymet of Infinite Potential is a legendary chest armor that's for Sorcerer, and it makes it so cast Nova at your teleport location. So every time you teleport, a Nova is going to happen. And then we also have Flicker Form, which is a legendary helmet that makes it so teleport moves you at a random location and costs 10 mana instead of having a cooldown. So you guys can see that the legendary abilities over here, if you want to build a teleport build, you're pretty much going to be looking at Flicker Form as well as maybe a few other legendaries. They didn't specify how many other things that will work well with it, but as of right now, it almost kind of looks like a set, if you will, like you're looking for all of the pieces for this one over here. But next up, we have the Unraveler's Threads over here, and it makes it so teleport forms a rift in your path that increases your critical strike chance by 49% for 5 seconds. And the other legendary, which is to the left of it, is basically the same as the first one, which is the Remnant of Infinite Potential, as you guys can see over here. Both of them rolled the exact same thing, so I wanted to mention just a heads up, some legendaries won't have like a number, it'll just have a legendary ability on it. But anyways, next up over here, this is something that is completely new to Diablo completely. It is called a Mythic Item. So what a Mythic Item is basically it's kind of like a super rare item. This is like the rarest thing that you can actually get in the game. But what a Mythic Item is a item that can have random legendary abilities. They might be specifically only for Mythic items, but basically it has 4 different legendary abilities that can be completely random. So each one of those, where it says, let's say, weapon mastery skills have additional charge, that could be on the same exact amulet, the Obsidian Heart, but it could have a completely different legendary ability, is what I'm saying. So basically, the Obsidian Heart is not always going to have this same exact legendaries. But anyways, this is what we know of. Weapon mastery skills have additional charge. This is for Barbarian, pretty much. And it says, cut to the bone talent activates against enemies that are hit by your shouts instead of stuns. Critical strike chance is increased by 20% against bleeding enemies, and your shouts will generate 2 fury per second while active. Now, they did not specify this. However, it seems like how they want to design the game as far as mythic items go, all of them will be for that one class. So you wouldn't get a mythic item that would roll like 2 barbarians things and then like 1 thing for, let's say, sorcerer. Like that wouldn't really make sense, but that is what the heck a mythic item actually does in the game. And since we are talking about legendaries, technically I wanted to just include this in the video because it's just something that's kind of relevant. These are legendary armor sets. We don't know the abilities of them, but as soon as that comes out, I'll update you guys with that. But they already have the artwork done, so hopefully we'll get to see that very soon. And I did make a video. It was uploaded super late last night, just like this video. But anyways, I talked about the endgame progression, and so if you guys didn't get to check that out, again, I uploaded it super late. If you guys want to check that out, I'll have that pinned down below in the comment section as well. But anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and let me know, guys, what you think of the legendaries so far in the game. Do you guys like it? And I made a video going over like the item progression in the game, but pretty much it seems like this game wants to be all about legendaries, similar to, I would say, like Diablo 3. We won't be really utilizing those yellow items. However, with runes, this could actually change things, but that's a topic for another day. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you did, drop a like on it. And if you want to see more Diablo 4 and other gaming content, hit the subscribe button and turn on that bell, and you'll see more very soon. But thanks for tuning in. Have a good one, and I'm signing out. Peace.